Welcome to the E-Show with Neil Ravin. Founded in 2013, the EHL has become the college placement leader on the East Coast. Sit back and learn more about the next step in your junior hockey career.
Welcome to the E-Show, presented by the Penalty Box Foundation. The Foundation's mission centers around their daily motto, "We take care of our own," as they help out all of those within the hockey community who've experienced a catastrophic event. Learn more at penaltyboxfoundation.org. What's up? My name is Neil Ravin, and this is episode number 103 of the E-Show. On this week's episode, we take a look back at all the great moments so far in the 2021-22 season. The E-Crew has both laughed and debated throughout the year, setting the table for what will be a great final 3 months of the season. Kick back and enjoy some of the best highlights from the podcast. My favorite question on the road is, where is the Eastern Hockey League located? And I have to be polite, right? I
get that question all the time.
Where's the headquarters of my house?
Where is it located? I was like, it's up north. It's in the Northeast.
But
Hampstead, New Hampshire.
Because it's in the name. Eastern. It's the first name in there, right? Like
New England Patriots.
But be polite when I say it, right? Like I noticed it last year with the 87's EHLP team. Every time they went to a showcase, I had to move them further down the power rankings afterwards. You may have noticed that too, Anthony, because they struggled in showcases.
Well, yeah. You want to know why? Because you schedule them to play a game right after they have to make a 4-hour bus drive to Boston.
You hear the you
Neil. You did this, Neil. No,
but episode one.
There's one I remember. We went to Chelmsford, right? And the 87's P team had 2 games that day. The first one, right off the bus, had to go play against the Boston Junior Rangers, 8-1 later that night.
Thanks, Neil. Jeez. I can hear Maddie Kiernan now. Oh my God.
Later that night, they played against the New Hampshire Avalanche, the other best P team, and it was a 2-1 game. The 87's took them into overtime. So you hate to make excuses, but
their legs were like spaghetti coming up.
I think it's a valid thing where not just the 87's, but Team Maryland, Philadelphia, where you have to make these drives all the way up to these New England states. Yep. And if you're playing right off the bat, you're kind of at a disadvantage against teams like the Boston Junior Rangers or the New Hampshire Avalanche, where it's a 25-minute drive right to the arena and you're ready to go.
The challenge of scheduling, to defend myself, is finding the balance for when you have to play 2 games in one day, obviously, because you have to have enough time in between. Finding a balance for teams like Maryland to get there, right? But college hockey still, whether it's Division 1, 2, or 3, is predominantly a Northeast sport still. And we're fortunate that, crazy stat, 70% of college hockey programs combined, D1, D2, D3. Most of our kids go D2, D3. Everyone knows that. But 70% of Division 1, 2, and 3 hockey schools fall in our footprint, right inside the map. Yes.
70%.
But the higher majority of those are in the state of Massachusetts. Look at just Mass on its own. Mass is loaded with hockey. And and you can't put much more into the state, right? But that's why the showcases have stayed up here, because you see the most colleges like that. That's why in a 4-day span in October, we play 3 college teams.
This is something that I do want to bring up. I was watching I think it was the East Coast Wizards versus the Connecticut Chiefs. The Wizards had a 1-goal lead with under 2 minutes left in the third period. The Connecticut Chiefs scored on a dump-in from center ice. Alto was in goal for that. Yes. And you would think that most goaltenders would fold after giving up something like that, right? Wrong. Alto made some ridiculous saves in overtime, like absolutely incredible. And then he stopped, I think, 2 out of the 2 shots he faced in the shootout. He was terrific. Yeah. And I think that just showed resiliency. That shows that, he can rebound after giving up a tough goal. And I hope that we get to see him in the showcase, because I think he is a good goaltender. He won't define himself by, giving up a center ice goal. And I think that he worked his way into my fantasy team. I want to see what he's got.
Okay.
Tyler Penry, another player who's been racking up the points, 3 goals, 6 assists for 9 points in just 5 games. and he's another player that I think can really help out the Lumberjacks in the showcase.
He pulled the Michigan, which I have been told by multiple people that it's actually the Mike Leg. I was like, nobody knows Mike Leg was. It happened in Michigan. That's why people call it the Michigan. But
if you ask the NHL, they call it the Svechnikov.
Well, there's no, hang on. There's
from the KDX.
This is a hill I will die on. There is a difference between there is a difference between the Michigan and the Svechnikov. The Michigan is where the players actually press down on the puck with their stick, kind of like how Mike Leg did it. The Svechnikov is where you just kind of shove your blade underneath the puck, where I think it's a little harder to do, but if you can do it right, you can pull it off quicker. When Anthony Tavares pulled off the Michigan for the 87s, I think a lot of people forget that Peyton Jones nearly pulled off the Svechnikov where he was behind the net. No, really, he just put the puck right under, or the stick blade right underneath the puck and nearly scored in one quick motion. Whereas like Tavares, you can kind of see it unfolding, but I think with the Svechnikov, it's a quicker move, though harder to pull off.
Okay, so he's giving your boy Andre props. Well,
see, I told you, Neil. It's catching on. People are loving it.
Do we like the goal? Do we like that style of a goal?
I think it's cool. I think it takes a lot of skill to pull that off, especially like when everyone's around the net like that and they're just everywhere. It's you wouldn't think you'd be able to toss it in like that.
I'd say it's a bold move because, like you said, you got to pull it off quick or you're going to get decked. You're going to get
that's the thing, right? If I was a defenseman, I would just run through that guy.
I would too. That would be I would put you through the glass.
You guys call me old. I'm old school. I love when a guy goes down on a breakaway and just shoots it.
It's not a game to watch for necessarily, but a jersey to watch for are those Vermont Lumberjacks black jerseys. Those are pretty fresh. I thought the plaid was pretty cool on the white ones, but when you see it on the black jerseys, that's something else. They had that at the game I went to this last weekend, and it was amazing.
Can I point out one thing? This is a shot. I guess it's a shot.
Do we want you to?
I'm curious to see if the Rangers bust out the black jerseys themselves, because for
the practice jerseys,
the Lumberjacks black jerseys are better than the Rangers. And the Rangers are 0-1 in the black jerseys, right? So
so keep playing in the black jerseys. Everybody else will appreciate it.
What is the line?
Everybody else will appreciate it.
What is the line? I'm not superstitious, but I'm kind of stitious, or whatever that line is. The Avalanche won both of their championships in the navy, the dark blue jerseys, and then they only brought the golds last year. So I do believe in some of that jersey stuff. So we'll have to, if we notice any trends with jerseys.
Well, are you
this
saying
weekend,
that the Lumberjacks aren't going to do well since they lost in their black jerseys
I just want to see.
Are you making a hot take right now?
I just want to see what happens. Just want to see what happens. That's all.
I love this.
Cliff knows that he can be a pain, but he likes to be a pain, right? So Cliff sent me a stat change for Team Maryland. Cliff, you coach the Renegades. You can't send me a stat change for Team Maryland. Well, it's for my son. I understand that. And he goes, as you can clearly see in the video.
Oh,
Cliff,
wow.
Cliff, the video that you took of your phone, of your computer screen that I can't see anything.
A little pixelated.
But like I've always said to all of you and everybody else in this league, you have to be able to dish it and take it back in this league. So I said to him, I go, Cliff, yeah, it's so clear in the video. The blurry video, it's so clear. But I did get confirmation from Josh that it was the pass from Graziano. It actually helped that the broadcaster said Graziano to Donnelly. But it was just funny that Cliff's like, well, if Josh doesn't send it in, I go, Josh is gonna send it in. Just give it time.
Yep.
But we'll be
it now. It's gratification.
We'll be there in person. There'll be a bunch of stat changes in person this weekend, I'm sure. Wait till you guys see the hat I have for the first day of the showcase. It says first place on the front of it because I'm in first place.
Wow. Now, Lauren called you out this week about
yeah, he was like,
that horn
I'll see you guys from the top. Yeah, right. We're up by less than 2 points.
Still at the top.
I was up by way more first week, so that's not super exciting for me. Sorry.
Well, fair.
You three are
Anthony.
Right.
Anthony, I have to point out, I feel bad for you for this.
Oh.
Your forward and defenseman, the first games they played for you this week, each got suspended. That's
hey,
tough.
Anthony, welcome to the club, buddy. Hey, you joined my elite class. I only had one guy get suspended, too. Oof. But you still got 18 points from Jackson Bernard. I looked and I was like, how did Anthony get 0-0? 18?
Like, that's what's crazy, right? Up until the final game of the week, Anthony was in first place for the week from Bernard.
That's it. Just Bernard.
You have to kind of think, like, if my guys don't take suspensions, then I'm blowing this thing away and Neil can stop pounding his chest saying he's in first place.
Pretty much.
Overall standings, to Lauren's point, I am not running away with it.
No.
That's what you said, though. You're like, no, it's nice to see you guys from the top.
Well, I'm gonna go
less than 2 points.
Yes,
come on.
But I'm waving to you because I'm not gonna look back. That's the issue.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I'm at 43. You're at 40.6. Anthony's at 39.8. Jeff, I know you feel like you're far behind, but you're not. You're at 28, and you know how quickly this thing can change.
Yep, I'm breathing in, breathing out.
Everyone's got multiple games this week. And
this is the big week.
This is really the big week.
Now we start to hit the ground running with our boots and catch him in that heaven that he's in the standings. You know?
Yeah, that high horse.
That high horse. A whole 2.5 points ahead of Lauren.
So in that Team Maryland game, Nathan Mueller had to make 35 saves in that shutout.
Miller.
Excuse you, sir.
Confirmed that this weekend. He is one of 3 Millers on BJR, and they're all spelled differently.
One of them is spelled the way that you think the Miller should be spelled.
Yes.
Too.
Tomas Mueller. I actually said that in my game. I was like, Nathan Miller to Tomas Mueller up to Tommy Miller.
It's okay. It's confirmed now. But what I was saying is, I don't know if there was a game when Miller in goal, the one that's in goal, had to make 30 plus saves like that last year. Ronan Mobley winning 2 of the 3 starts he made, including that shutout victory against the Wizards. That made a huge difference. I just skipped Lauren there for a second. We kicked over to my team. Lauren's picking next.
Whoa!
I wanted to start pounding my chest there for a second. Well, no, he brought up.
I'll leave. It's okay.
Lauren will take you down a rung.
He brought up Valley. I apologize. Okay, you go.
Lauren, are we going to talk about my players? You talked about everybody else. You're just not going to talk about me now.
Well, you had bonus points also. You got bonus.
I will leave. I will gladly leave because clearly you don't want me here.
I'm eating my words right now. I'm eating my words right now. You had the bonus points first because Aiden Hotchkiss scored the game-winning goal.
Let's go, Hachi.
Against the Wizards. Seeing Bill Zanaboni is always like one of my favorite moments, right?
Same.
So
Agreed.
He comes in for clarification with Mike Richard, who's their P coach, about how the playoffs work. And I mentioned, guys, like it's on the website, everyone makes the playoffs. And Bill, without hesitation, is like, you made the playoffs, and just high fives Mike. It was like a huge moment. And he's like, your first year, you're going in. And it was like, you made the playoffs a month ago. Like
it's a bonus for everybody. 12
it was awesome. But the funniest moment that I don't know if enough people have picked up on this yet, but I'm sure you all saw the team picture that we took, which everyone was in their away jersey. And then when you kept swiping on Instagram, it turned into the All-Star jersey. Came out awesome. For those that are on this podcast, I'm going to show you. And for those that are at home, you got to go to Instagram. Egan Schmidt makes the same exact face in both pictures. It's almost like his head is on a T. It's beyond impressive. So I'm going to hold it up so you guys can see first. Look at the way his head is tilted and the eyebrows and everything. Watch. Yep. And then I'm going to swipe over. It's literally the same exact face.
Oh my God.
And it's 2 different pictures.
Different jersey. Wow.
And like I pointed that with the Hicklings because they saw it too. And we were like, how did he do that?
Was he the one that was sitting next? He was sitting next to you too, right?
Well, please, we go to sit down for the picture and I'm sitting in a chair and he's the first captain that shows up. And Margaret Hickling's like, you could pick any of these chairs. And he goes right next to Neil. And I was like, okay. Tyler and Anthony were on together with Justin turning the camera on Friday night. So the whole hockey TV crew that we put together was excellent for that one. When I turned the camera for a couple periods on Saturday, it didn't go well. I almost missed about 2 goals.
Not.
So
Oh yes,
that's
I know
why-
because you
Lauren
had
going
me
for
help.
the jugular.
Oh yeah, I really when you have to put the top plays together and one of them for one of the goals, and you're watching it back and you're like, are you gonna get the goal? It's like somebody just like fell asleep midway, and I'm like, are they gonna turn the camera because the play started going left and the camera was still facing towards the right, and I'm like, are we gonna get this goal? We barely squeaked it in there.
Is it the motion activated camera that took over for us a little bit there?
Hey, the most
It kinda
important
lagged.
thing is that Neil got the goal. That's the most important
Just barely.
Yeah. Well, this is why
He's
I
got
don't-
duties.
This is
Too
why
many duties, Neil.
This is why. This is why I don't turn the camera ever.
And I'll keep playing my tiny little violin that keeps getting smaller and smaller every freaking week. But Nash, come on, buddy. I know. Nash is upset too. Thank you, buddy. Nash is like,
He's
I
made-
know. Jeff's getting screwed.
He's made an appearance. As you can
Yes.
see.
Here's our
Um,
logo. Welcome
so-
to episode 95. Jeff. But
I think this is the highest number of appearances Nash has ever made in the podcast. I'm currently holding his crayon toy, and he just keeps putting it back in my hand. He really is into episode 95. I'm not sure what it is about 95, but he wants to be a part of it for some reason.
he's our logo. We love you, Nash.
My
Welcome
God.
on, buddy.
He keeps putting it back in my hand. I can't get rid of this thing. For the past 2 years, what have I complained about forever?
Did you know that Neil got a hat trick?
Trick points.
And who gets the first hat trick of the year?
Yeah,
You did.
Yes. He had the best week going until my hat trick. I got to bring up the hat trick again. Sorry. Just got to keep plugging that one in there. I also have some really great fantasy news. I got a hat trick last week.
So much
For one final time, I got a hat trick last week. And then Justin Guelph, as I mentioned, got me 4 goals, including the hat trick against Seacoast. I got a hat trick last week. My hat trick.
Can you take your ego outside, please?
Hey.
No, I can't.
Yeah, you-
And then Damon Dulac, a funny story I have to share about him. I have the headshots folder from the Railers because at times we've been using headshots for some starts of the week stuff. And when you put the photo on Sports Engine, sometimes it compresses. So I can go in and I can grab the original high quality headshot, and I find Damon Dulac's, and then I find a second Damon Dulac. I don't know if I want to show it and share my screen right now because the second Damon Dulac has taken off the shirt and the jacket that was underneath his tie for that picture, and it's just the tie, bare chested.
what a
And I was
style
like-
icon right there.
Wow.
I was like,
That's a look,
like that had to
That's
be
taking
hysterical.
casual Fridays to a new level.
right?
So I found the picture and I honestly laughed to myself in my empty house here, my office, right, for a good 10 minutes. And I was like,
DHL headquarters.
I clearly nobody else finds this funny right now because I'm laughing by myself, but I thought it was hysterical. So
I called the P game between the Railers and the 87s, and they're just stacked from top to bottom.
Mhm.
Where you could put in LaPierre, you could put in Wickens, you could put in any goaltender in there. You could probably put me in there, and I'd still find a way to get a shutout.
are we going to do that at the Newington Showcase, Anthony? Bring the gear?
I used to, when I worked for the Titans in the NAHL and also at the 87s, I actually sometimes had my skates and would wheel around. I was more of a forward, but
Okay.
uh,
Have you ever played goalie before?
in street hockey I have, never
Okay.
ice.
One of my friends growing up made a rink in his backyard every year, and we would alternate who got to be goalie. And just one shot off my face, and I was like, I am never doing this again. This is not
Right?
fun. Like,
You
this
always-
is not fun at all.
I caught for 10 years in baseball, which is very different than goaltending. I feel like similar because you got something fast coming flying at you. But yeah, street hockey goaltending is enough to, you take one puck or one ball off a weird area and you're like, yeah, I'm done. Those guys are
I'm good
different.
with this. So
Right.
they lost in overtime to the Seahawks, and they lost in a
Spartans.
fire alarm shootout to the
Oh.
Spartans.
That was fun.
Listen,
Poor Justin Harshaw's in the middle of his shot and all of a sudden,
No, it wasn't Harshaw. It was the Spartans.
oh, that's right. It was Whitman. You're right, Lauren. Yeah, that's right.
the
Whitman was like
second
going
one-
down there. He was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so the fire alarm went off on back-to-back days.
Yeah.
The first day, the puck hit it. Like, I can't make this
How?
up. I
And-
heard
yeah.
I heard the puck hit the roof behind me and then hit the wall and then hit something else, and then a second later, like, starts blaring. And I looked down and the handle is pointed down. Like, how the puck could hit in that exact spot and knock the handle down is just beyond me. And
You
then,
did an awesome job of being Lauren Smith, the ringside reporter. You texted all of us because I was on the air and I'm like, what is going on?
Yes.
And Neil goes, I just saw it. A player hit the fire alarm. Sources confirmed. I am the source. I'm standing right here.
The second day, it was not me ordering popcorn, even though I had plenty of popcorn after the Sunday night. Ryan brought a bowl up for me to have after the night was over. That was like it must have been 4 gallons. Like it was huge.
My head is huge, and it was like 3 times the size of my head.
My mouth on Monday morning, I was
though.
like, I need water. Like now. It was like that SpongeBob episode. Yes,
Give me that BioSteel, baby. Hydrate.
But someone burnt the popcorn, and it was right when Whitman actually collected the puck. And Jeff, I have to politely, in a fun way, call you out.
Please do.
Did you almost miss the shootout?
Yep, because it was a little confusing, Neil. I mean, if we go back to the elementary school days, right? Fire alarm means exit the building. Like half the people were out of the building, half the people were still in. It was legitimately smoky because I walked out and I was like, oh my God, it stinks in here. Like I'm going to go get a breath of fresh air for a second. And then I saw the fire department come in and they looked like they were doing it and they came in quick. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then
did you hear what they were saying in the lobby? They were trying to find like which detector like went off and they couldn't find it, and then all of a sudden this guy yells, I don't even know where he was, he's like, found it. And then they go and turn it off, and obviously we got back on with the shootout. God, I don't want to hear any more fire alarms so many times soon.
I'm done.
That was that was one of my favorite interview quotes. I interviewed Ty Franchi after that game because I was like, this kid was standing on his head during that game, and I was like, what was going through your head during that shootout? And he hits me with, well, the fire alarm was for the first 5 minutes. And I was like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they always talk about freezing the kicker in football. Well, I guess fire alarms in hockey is the way to freeze goaltenders and players. And I had one at Bentley Arena last week too. That was that was a hack for
fire alarms, and you take a shot. It's that simple, Jeff.
No bonus.
I think many moons ago. Collectively have to now pause and give Jeff a round of applause.
Thank you.
I think this is the first time you've picked last all year.
Correction, sir. Second.
Okay.
I had that 51 point bet.
Oh, this is true. You had the mega week. I'd have to take that.
I think that's
back.
actually the highest point total of anyone in 1 week. Scott Bird enter my fantasy team. I had good luck with fantasy goalies in the past that had Bird relations. One being Tobias Falkenstead many moons ago with Neil and Brittany. What was that, 2 years ago when the Falcon was a big goalie for Walpole? So, Mr. Bird, let's go. Let's fly into action and let's fly some more W's into my.
He was looking good this weekend.
Please. He was, and I mean, credit to him too.
Win.
Credit to him, right? I mean, Jack Boschert has been excellent. He's part of our All-Star series coming up, and Bird is making him sweat a little bit. I mean, I know a lot of goalies, they're competitors, but they're usually friends too, and I'm sure that's the case as Bird coming over from the Charlotte Rush, and he's looked good. 241 goals against, a 933 save percentage in 3 games for Coach Holmstrom. So let's hope that Scott Bird, I think they're playing 3 games this week, so I'm hoping maybe he can get the 2. Boschert gets 1. We'll see what happens there. That was part of the same Railers Rangers thread that was on Twitter. You'll need to continue on your personal device. Whoa. Oh, hello.
Sorry.
We're trying to continue on our personal devices.
Before we get into the weekly rundown, I got to give a shout out to Jim McCabe, because the other night he was supposed to call the Rangers game, and they were having a little bit of some issues with the internet. Could have possibly been a broken encoder from Hockey TV. So without hesitation, he just left Breakaway, went over to the Haverhill Valley Forum where the Warriors played, got their equipment there, went back to Breakaway. Every effort that he made to try and get this game on the broadcast ultimately didn't work out, and he tweeted that video out afterwards. But man, A for effort, because he did everything that he possibly could to get it on the air.
That is the Jim McCabe that we all know and love. We love you, Jimbo. And that's double done.
They had Little Flyers themselves had kind of a wild game with the 87s, if I do say so. There's a little bit of a sigh from Anthony. Because it just goes back to, like, I know the streak that the 87s are on, and Anthony, you can attest, they're all 1-goal games.
I know. It's hard to look at that as a 7-game losing streak.
I'm not a person to overreact, but I don't think the 87s are going to win a game this season again. Oh. On a more serious note.
That was a joke for everyone. That was a joke. If you couldn't see Anthony's face and you're just listening to this, that was a joke.
They're
in the North Division now.
Did you see the game winner?
No,
the game winner.
No.
It's the number one play. I mean, we don't.
Third time this year for that kid. Top play.
That was the McAllister Award. That's right.
Yeah.
I did see that. That's right.
Like, we don't have an award for this, but I don't think we've ever had someone get the top play more than once before, and he's got it 3 times.
We might have to create that.
The
top play award. That'd be a fun banquet award.
He decided, mid overtime to just Michigan the game winner.
No biggie.
Like,
great.
So I guess honestly, we're gonna pause this for a second. Of the 3 number 1 plays that he's had, which one is the best? Because they've been really good.
I mean, a game winner in overtime, Michigan move. It is 3-on-3, so I guess there's a little more space out there.
But at the same time, that's amazing. Like, to pull that off is just so good. Like, it doesn't matter what level it is, if you can pull that off, so good. And I heard from the other day too, I was like, because I was asking about it, I was like, what game was that in? Because I had to look it up. And then he's like, oh yeah, he's like, I've been trying to practice that for a while, so it felt really good to finally get it done. And I was like, the fact that you said that you've been practicing that is just ridiculous in itself. Right. And just to even see you pull it off, wow.
Anthony's rewatching.
Did you just watch it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was nasty. I remember that. That was
this is the argument I made in the first week, where if a team doesn't play, then I don't think that should be an excuse to keep them where they are. Because if the Avalanche are good enough, then they start winning the games when they start playing again, and they have to earn their way back up into the power rankings. So I know on one hand, it seems like you're punishing them for not doing anything, but on the other hand, you have to reward the teams that are playing and winning games.
Right.
But
I
don't
we don't want to kick them out. We just want to move them before move the Rangers over. I
disagree, because so far this entire season, we have been leaving teams in their spot if they haven't played games. So we can't really change that now. It doesn't.
I think
really
it's a lousy precedent then.
Well, that's just what we have now. We kind of have to stick to it at this point. Otherwise,
you don't stick to that because it's a bad
start
process.
From people after this, and they're gonna be like,
I don't care what they say.
We're never gonna hear the end of it. They're all just gonna sit there.
You know what, Lauren? Lauren, if the coaches complain to you, you direct them to me. I did this. you can tell them that I did this.
We hold on. In episode 99, we just came up with the new motto of the E Show. I don't care what they say. That's it. That's the motto
who we thought
of the
they were.
show.
We let them off the hook.
Jeff?
Well, I want to move the Rangers to 3. I understand what Lauren is saying. I understand all sides. I know what Anthony's saying too. And I was kind of leaning towards what Anthony was saying as far as, yes, we've set a precedent where if teams don't play, they can't move. But if you have something like you had this week where a Rangers team takes over a dominating Worcester Railers team,
yeah, but we've had this issue in the past and we still leave it as is. That's just what we've gone with. And now if we change it now, this goes against everything we've talked about on the power ranking so far this season.
Jeff, are you voting on Lauren's? Jeff, are you voting on Lauren's side?
I want to stay in the.
What'd you say?
Just don't hold the door. I'm gonna leave. I don't want to vote.
He's playing
Switzerland. I want to abstain.
Yeah,
I'm playing Switzerland. I want to abstain, but.
You're pulling a 1776 where New York abstains courteously.
There's not enough votes to abstain, Jeff.
I know.
Just you know what? Honestly, just say yes because you do, right? And I know yes, Anthony and I are willing to concede in the fact that Seahawks can be 1, Railers could be 2. We're gonna make a push that Rangers have to be 3 to the Avalanche 4, right?
Yep.
Anthony. And
I like that.
And then Justin's going to have to come in and say he's either going with Jeff and Lauren or Neil and Anthony.
Yeah, even I'm torn on this one, but
oh my god,
see, this is tough. Like this,
I think you have to. I'm going with the precedent here. I think you have to leave Rangers 4th.
So when I post these, I'm going to write a few changes in the EHLP power rankings based off of precedent. Thank you for listening to some of the best moments we've had on the podcast this season. Remember, the next episode with the full E crew will be dropped on Wednesday morning before the EHL returns to action, with the New Jersey 87s facing off against the Philadelphia Little Flyers in Aston, Pennsylvania. Happy New Year!
Thanks for listening to The E Show. Learn more at easternhockeyleague.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Also, be sure to subscribe and get notified when next week's podcast is released.